Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambeau channel, and I want to share with you an idea, because I think that the way that humans, both on the retail side and institutional side, the way that humans invest in general is going to shift dramatically. We're already seeing this, but I think it's going to continue to occur. The way humans invest, it's going to look very different thanks to the advent of blockchain technology and cryptocurrencies. And I think that those cryptocurrencies that are solving real-world problems are going to ultimately be used as Treasury reserve assets. And so I want to be clear. So I'm talking about XRP's potential for this specifically in this video, and I certainly believe it's possible that could happen in the future. What I'm not talking about in this video specifically is XRP becoming the global reserve currency for the planet. That's a different concept. In this particular video, that's not what I'm going to be honing in on. I'm talking about what we already see happening in the real world. We see businesses adopting Bitcoin as a treasury reserve asset. Publicly traded companies are doing that. So what's going to happen as you continue to see the maturation of this asset class, and it becomes clear that there are going to be additional winners beyond Bitcoin because they solve real-world problems and they become standards? What's going to happen? Will businesses that choose to diversify their holdings, that choose to invest in assets that they believe are strictly treasury reserve assets, are they going to diversify? Once they get into crypto, are they going to diversify further? Are they going to go into other cryptocurrencies like XRP, perhaps? Well, that's where it gets to this idea of what's going to be the best treasury reserve asset. Because if a crypto has staying power, okay, store value right there, bam, use case, got it. But if it has additional use case, I believe that will instill additional confidence. And so that would be, to me, a superior store of value. I firmly believe that. And I've talked about this concept before. So is it going to be the case that other institutions are going to look at it the same way? Or is Bitcoin always going to be the number one go-to despite other coins as time passes clearly having staying power? Is it really just going to be Bitcoin? Or if you want to have treasury reserve assets that are provably scarce and decentralized, that can't be seized, this and that, all these awesome attributes, is it just going to be Bitcoin? Or is it going to be the case that a lot more money is going to flow into those cryptocurrencies that are provably functionally being used in the real world? Well, I think you know where I stand. I think that a ton of money would flow ultimately into those, including XRP. I want to be clear, I don't have a financial background. I'm not offering financial advice, and so you shouldn't buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. I just think it's fun to talk about these topics and make YouTube videos, so I'm no different than you. I just happen to run a YouTube channel. I want to be super clear here. Before we go any further, if you would please delicately tap the like button. I'd appreciate the support, and subscribe to the channel if you've not yet done so, because let's be real, why did my screen go black? What the hell just happened? What is going on? Google Translate has crashed? What the? Okay, I might have to pick this back up in a minute. Technology. All right, well, I'm back. I ended up restarting my computer, but you have it right there. My Brave browser crashed. That is the first time I've been using Brave browser and it's crashed. It's been an excellent browser, but there it happened for the first time ever. So I guess I'm going to smash that little video clip together with this new one that I just started recording again. And I'll tell you, I really like to just do these all in one take, which is what I do with super rare exception. Out of all the videos I've ever put out, there's probably been like, I don't know if it's 2 exceptions ever, and usually it's come down to technical glitch. Actually, every time it's come down to, yeah, literally every time it's come down to technical glitches. Because I just like to be like raw, just whatever it is, just authentic. And so I prefer to just record all this in one take. And so there we are. How about that? Brave browser crash. I still love Brave browsers. You can see it's back up and running here, so all is well, but that's kind of freaking annoying. All right, whatever. Into the content now. So I got tagged by Chart Watchdog. Thank you very much for tagging me here. And I wanted to highlight something. I really do. I'm going to read something to you that's been circulating around the XRP community. There were actually multiple people that tagged me. Chart Watchdog was just the first one that I saw. But there were multiple people that were talking about this and tagging me on the Twitters. And my gosh, please, people, don't believe something like this. What I'm about to read you, this is written by a person that I suspect wants nothing more than just attention. And they've got it. And I don't care if they get attention as much as I just don't want people to be gullible. I want to point out how silly it is to believe stuff like this and squash it. I think that, some people would say, well, I give attention to people like this. I'm like, well, to combat it. Like, I'm not going to lay down like a little wimp and just pretend like this is okay when people are putting out crap about Ripple and XRP. I don't care if it's positive or negative. If it's crap, and I'm going to call it out. But here's what was written by somebody named Anonymous on November 1st. How about that? The switch begins the plan. Oh, God, already this is painful for me. The plan involves the swift migration of stock assets to stable cryptocurrency and precious metals. This week, the Dow Jones will enter freefall. The public has been primed to expect this in hindsight. Now, to be clear, with stuff with the election, there could be something where like he's suspecting something might be potentially happen anyway, but he's pretending as if this is like he's all knowing. Just wait till I read the rest of it. This anonymous individual is acting like they're actually all knowing, and people are taking this as gospel. It's kind of gross to me. And so something with the election could happen. Markets could react. Okay, fine, acknowledge that, but just let me read the rest. As the stock market tanks, so too will crypto investors exit to United States dollars. XRP price will dip to 10 cents. Large whales who would otherwise wait to buy the market dip will see this opportunity and move from quickly devaluing stocks into stable coins, PMS, miners accelerating the market crash. XRP will quickly spike above $1, maybe even to $10, depending on engagement. Oh my God. XRP simply follows the price action of Bitcoin. If you're looking at like on a macro level, that's all it's doing. That is it. Oh my gosh. Now he's talking about an independent bull run. So you're talking about XRP leading the crypto market all the way up to $10 right now, effectively. This is complete and utter made up nonsense. Then he writes, so again, XRP will quickly spike above $1, maybe even to $10 depending on engagement. This will trigger a sell-off from early investors who have waited years with $1 plus XRPs. The price will plummet back to 45 cents and more whales will buy in via banking ramps. Flare snapshot will be taken on December 12th. Retail XRP ledger accounts, which are not involved with Snapshot, will be in danger of being repurposed. That's such utterly made-up garbage. And it's just, I understand if you're new to the space, you don't know what to believe, but that's why it's worth combating this stuff. This is utter nonsense, and it just keeps getting circulated all over the place. So, no, this is a big no. Then he writes, Kobayashi coins will cause total Bitcoin market collapse. Current date is December 15th. I do not know what the Bitcoin price will be before the crash. And then he writes $50,000? Shortly after economic meltdown, XRP will be pegged with gold. FXRP is minted for retail holders and XRP Ledger Bancorp begins. No, XRP will never be pegged to gold. That doesn't make any sense. What central entity would do that and make it worth whatever the gold price is? And then, what is it really worth then? Because XRP has an open market price. So is it worth what gold is worth and also what the price of XRP is worth? And then if you're going to sell it, what are you going to sell it for? Well, whatever's higher. So then if the price of gold is higher than the price of XRP, and then per what unit? Is it per single XRP? Is it per multiple XRP? Whatever's higher, though, that's what you're going to sell it for. And then if it's the entity that's pegging it to gold and actually backing it, well, then they're going to eat it, because you're talking about a central authority that would have to do that. And then why would they want to sell at whatever at a loss, effectively? Why would they be putting that up and paying for your XRP outside of what the market rate is for XRP? It's just complete and utter nonsense. It's complete garbage. So I just wanted to call that out for what it is, because I'm willing to, look, there are always new people entering the world of cryptocurrency. I'm sure some people here are wondering what the heck was up with that are listening to this video right this second. So it's always worth tearing this down. But into this piece from Cointelegraph, Bitcoin is the best treasury reserve asset humanity's ever had. At the time of writing this article, around 3.6% of Bitcoin is locked up in long-term holdings by institutional investors, according to the data. 13 entities have amassed close to 600,000 Bitcoin, about 2.85% of all Bitcoins, and worth approximately $6.9 billion. This includes MicroStrategy at the top, with close to 38,250 Bitcoin, about $450 million. The second on the list is Galaxy Digital Holdings, with 16,651 Bitcoin, which is about $198 million. The third, with 4,709 Bitcoin, is the payment company Square Inc., founded by Twitter's CEO Jack Dorsey. Separately, some companies help their clients invest in Bitcoin. One such company is Grayscale Investments through its GBTC Trust, which holds around 450,000 Bitcoin. Now, with that stated, the amount of Bitcoin that publicly traded companies hold as a reserve is a tiny fraction of the corporate treasuries around the world. Indeed, the actual amount of cash held in reserves is in the trillions of US dollars. But consider this, 9 companies in the S&P 500 are sitting on close to $600 billion in cash in short-term investments. And if just 5% or $30 billion of that amount is converted into Bitcoin, the price could easily increase 5-fold. Yeah, and so this is true because even if they're purchasing over the counter, which would mean that you wouldn't see an initial market impact, like I keep saying, it still affects supply and demand. So even if there's not an initial jostling of the market, it's still going to hit. Like it absolutely has to. And then the piece continues. Of course, there's the question of where to place Bitcoin in company investment portfolios. The most likely category is alternative investment. The need to strike a balance between traditional and alternative investments might reduce the appetite the market might have for the cryptocurrency, but nevertheless, the potential demand is still huge. As mentioned in a recent report by Fidelity, the alternative investment market grew to $13.4 trillion by the end of 2018, and very little of it was in Bitcoin. It might take converting as little as 5% of that to see the Bitcoin price moon. Some investment firms have chosen to create entirely separate holding companies for Bitcoin and other crypto assets. For example, Stone Ridge launched New York Digital Investment Group, which today has over $1 billion worth of crypto. And so in listening to an interview from Michael Saylor, he's the CEO of MicroStrategy recently, he said, really, it's like, he said a few things. He was talking about when he was going to like his board of directors and everybody else within his company to figure out, okay, just even to present the idea. I think that we should consider investing in Bitcoin. Okay. And so he was talking about he was expecting to get swatted down from the get-go. And excuse me, and then he ended up discovering that like half of the people on his board of directors were already personally invested in Bitcoin. And so it wasn't as big of a leap to get to the point. Now, obviously, they had a ton of homework to do. I'm not trying to make light of that. But as far as just, getting over the concept of this just being ridiculous to discuss, like, it wasn't an issue, actually. And so a lot of smart money is already in this, most certainly here. And so it's just kind of funny to think that. And so one of the points that Michael Saylor then made was like, hey, look, so maybe we're among the first in terms of publicly traded companies to figure this out and take action. But he's like, he basically, and I'm paraphrasing here, but he's like, at this point, we just have to play the waiting game and wait for everybody else to figure it out. And there is something to that, whether you believe it's going to be Bitcoin in the number one position forever or not, whatever you believe. I won't get into that for this particular video. It's going to be crypto, though. I mean, it's going to be a piece of this. Absolutely. It has to be, right? Because crypto is better at being gold than gold is at being gold if you look at the factors, the attributes that actually matter. And these are all points that Michael Saylor made, and I think they're rather salient points. They make all the sense in the world to me. And so then when you add on the idea of what about cryptocurrencies that need to exist in order for businesses that exist today to conduct business with their existing business models? Because such is the case with XRP. If XRP ceased to exist, if you could snap your fingers and it were gone, well, what happens to all of Ripple's on-demand liquidity customers that are using it to move money around the planet today? Well, they can no longer do so. And so if we know that they must have XRP in existence to conduct their business models, might that instill additional confidence? And if people have just way too much cash on the balance sheet, as is the case with MicroStrategies, as is the case with Apple, frankly, might it be a wise idea to invest, move some of that, convert it into cryptocurrency just purely as a Treasury reserve asset? Well, we already see that that's happening. This is not, like you said, that if you had said something like this 5 years ago, a lot of people would be like, oh my God, maybe not people in the world of crypto, but say to anybody else, oh, pie in the sky stuff. Companies are never going to hold crypto, blah, 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 blah. Okay, that would have been your response, but now we see that is happening. And so what's the next inevitable step, in my opinion? Altcoins, ones that are going to have staying power. Now, maybe it's years down the road. Maybe it is. Maybe you got to wait even longer for the market and people in the position of Michael Saylor, for example, to acknowledge, okay, here's another clear winner that's an altcoin. Because I understand. I totally get that. I mean, even though I have all the confidence in the world in terms of XRP, it's got an 8-year track record, but it's only been used in the commercial production of on-demand liquidity for a little over 2 years now. There are only so many corridors open, and so in terms of staying power, a lot more has to happen to prove that there's real utility there. But once it's proven, I do suspect that XRP and every other coin that has real-world utility will be adopted in such a fashion. That's certainly my strong suspicion here. And so as far as MicroStrategy, man, take a look at this headline. MicroStrategy's bottom line gets beefier on Bitcoin moves. Bad crypto news of the week. It's been another strong week for Bitcoin. The dollar price is up about 2.5% over the week, although that's still something of a decline from its recent high above $13,400. At one point, Bitcoin fell 4% in 24 hours. But bulls remain optimistic and see the price advancing towards $20,000, possibly as early as March. Well, frankly, some people think it's going to happen in 2020, but we shall see. Nonetheless, the piece continues. That future price movement will depend on a number of factors, including whether banks follow PayPal into cryptocurrency acceptance, the size of the stimulus expected to counter the new pandemic outbreak, and the pattern of the hash rate, among other factors. One point of volatility could come at the end of the month. That's when the Bitcoin options market reaches $750 million expiration. In the meantime, large amounts of Bitcoin are on the move. A whale has recently transferred $1 billion worth of Bitcoin, and it cost them $3.58. And I talked about that when that happened. It is pretty cool news, just that huge type of transfer. I also pointed out that with XRP, instead of $3.58, it would have been fractions of a penny, but still, whatever. Better than what the legacy financial system could do, I acknowledge that. Despite that volatility, Anthony Pompliano, the co-founder of Morgan Creek Digital, thinks that Bitcoin has broken away from its correlation with the stock market and is now a safe haven for investors. Mike Novogratz agrees. He sees Bitcoin as a kind of digital gold, a good way to store value, but not something that will function as a currency in the next 5 years. That opportunity, though, may only be available for Bitcoin. Altcoins are doing less well. Ethereum, for example, has been looking relatively weak despite Bitcoin's growing strength. And look, this should not be surprised. We understand market cycles, I hope. Maybe you listening, if you're new, maybe you don't. But this is, looking on the short time frame, is not an indication of long-term viability. Just suffice it to say, right? Some companies have been doing well out of that strength. Business intelligence firm MicroStrategy has made more than $100 million in profit from its Bitcoin investments. That's more than it's made analyzing... that's more than it's made analyzing business. That's a broken sentence. I think in analyzing, whatever. Visa might struggle to follow them. The U.S. Department of Justice is now investigating the company's acquisition of Plaid, a fintech company. And so, again, it's clear to see the direction this is going. And Michael Saylor, he even acknowledged, hey, we know that when we're purchasing this Bitcoin, it could have a drawdown of 50% for all we know. They fully acknowledge that. It's just volatile. But they're not going to sell it. They understand that the short-term price action doesn't matter. And so their whole vision is just buy and hold. They literally hodl. That's it. That's simply it. And so I'm happy to wait and see what happens in terms of adoption with the rest of the crypto asset class. But you can imagine if this occurs, if XRP ends up being held as a Treasury reserve asset by other companies, you know what that would do to supply and demand. I already talked about in this video what it would mean for Bitcoin, and it could be substantial. And even outside of that, consider this too. If this takes off, even if it's just Bitcoin that's being purchased by the publicly traded companies, these ones that we're talking about here, look, Bitcoin leads the market, so even if it's just Bitcoin today being used for this particular purpose as a Treasury reserve asset, the trickle-down effect ultimately is going to hit, I believe, anyway, XRP and the rest of the altcoins. So this is a net plus anyway. This is why I keep saying, I want Bitcoin to do well. I hope it genuinely has staying power. So all good news in my mind. But that is it for this video. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo!